Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you, Rinpoche. How are you today,
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. Okay. Sangye chedan zogye chonam lan chanchu bardo dane kyabso ji dagye jenso angye vesen. Jola benje sangye jobara sho sangye chedan zogye chonam lan chanchu bardo dane kyabso ji dagye jenso angye vesen. Dola benje sangye drupara shu sangye chedan zangye chonam la shanchu bardo dan gyabzo chi dangye chen sangye ben sunam gye dola benje sangye drupara shu sa shi bu Zhou Xi Mi Do Dharma Xi Rama Li Xi Nian Den Ge Bo De San Ge Xi Do Mian De Wai Zhuge Namai Dai Xin La Zhu Mara Zhu Yi Da Ma Guru Radha Menda Gam Nirya Daraya Me. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good evening. Okay. So I'll, like usual, I will just recap what we discussed last week to the verse that we covered last week. That was the verse number 50, 50. So basically, we are talking about the five aggregates. So we believe the person. So there are different sets of how to say belief system within Buddhism even that some believe the five aggregates to be the body, to be the person, or um, that the five aggregates make up the person, etc., etc. So, anyways, of course, on the ultimate level, we know that the five aggregates, basically the body, the feeling, the emotion, these are not me. They are my feelings, my body, my thought, etc. So it's mine, not me. But it still makes up a very important part of who I am. Without the five aggregates, I won't be. They will not. I won't be able to point out. I won't be able to establish a person, me. So I am identified through my body, through my thoughts, through my emotion, through my judgment, etc. So therefore, even though I'm not my thought, even though I'm not my body, but it's through these five aggregates, uh, which through which I am being identified. So it's an integral part, very important part of me, the person. Uh, and so this is what we have been dealing with for the last few weeks. And the last week's topic was about so if the five aggregates are not the person, then what is the person, right? The me. And then I think that was the topic we discussed like a few weeks ago. The last week's topic was if the person is not the five aggregates, but still the five aggregates are so important. Then where does this, I mean, there's a very important connection between me and my five aggregates, the person and the aggregates of the person. Even though the person is not the aggregate, but there's a very strong connection. So therefore, where does the five aggregates come from? So mainly, to begin with, like form meaning physical body. So where does the physical body comes from? Does it come from nothingness? Does it come without any causes? Does it come, etc., etc.? So the causation, um, the causation, the causational process of the five aggregates is what we discussed last week. Oh yeah. Yeah. So then we discussed about the causation, the cause of the causational process of the five aggregates. So you might think, because uh, why are we discussing about the five the causation the cause of the five aggregates, right? Because five aggregates are not the person. And then um, if you remember, the first line of the last verse is that the aggregates are not comes out of a whim, meaning it and the aggregates are not produced by the creator, etc., etc. Um, so we are talking about the person, not the five aggregates, right? I mean, when we talk about the creator, the God, the creator system, uh, the creator, the God created, according to that ideology, it's the God created the person, not necessarily um, the body, etc. Uh, but then, uh, when we look at that their perspective, when we look at their position from a Buddhist perspective, uh, they identify the person and the body as one. Mm. In their general presentation, usually a person is identified with or as uh, the body that they hold. So therefore, even though so from a Buddhist perspective, uh, um, the non-Buddhist that we were discussing last week sort of believe the five aggregates mm, to be the person. Mm. So when you read it again, um, you must read it that in a way that Nagarjuna is not saying that aggregates are the person. It is his opponents or his adversaries uh, who are claiming, even though they don't claim, how to say, literally, if even though they don't literally claim that the five aggregates are the person, but when they present their views, it comes to the conclusion that only the five aggregates can be identified as the person. There is no other way from their point of view, from the adversary's point of view. So that is what Nagarjuna is pointing out. So that's why he keeps saying the aggregates come from this, aggregates don't come from that, all these things. The reason for that is because he is trying to present the view from the adversary's side. Yeah, that's all. So so then, after laying out after presenting the views of the adversaries, then Nagarjuna uh, presents his own view. So this is a very typical sort of way of presenting your idea, or presenting a debate. I mean, okay. So let's do this. In ancient India, especially during the Nalanda's reign, during there is this form of presenting. There's something called the debate system, right? So because those were the time. I mean, India is known for wisdom. So many thinkers, so many philosophers come from India, and especially during Nalanda's prime, there has been like immense number of thinkers, especially coming from Nalanda, from other parts of India too, but mainly from Nalanda. So in Nalanda, I think we lost Mr.
Yeah,
Are you
Rinpoche.
here? Okay, okay.
Yeah, Rinpoche.
Okay. So, therefore, you present your ideas, and then after some time, these ideas are always open for challenges. So, I mean, those were very, how do you call that? The masters were very uh, confident of their thoughts and their views, and their philosophies are very thoroughly challenged, because they the thinkers of those times were like original thinkers. They are seeking the truth. They are seeking the truth, and they're not necessarily siding with my side, going for, oh, this is my position, this is my tradition, so I will not change anything. Not like that. So therefore, because you are seeking the truth, if you are seeking the truth, open challenge is very important. So therefore, they open up their thoughts to others, and then everybody can challenge them. So therefore, the adversaries that Nagarjuna pointed out were also uh, great thinkers. Um, uh, Previous to Nagarjuna's existence, Nagarjuna's coming, as well as during Nagarjuna's time, those masters, those followers of those masters were still there. So all these thoughts were in the open space. It can be debated, it can be challenged. So Nagarjuna is challenging all of them, from a Buddhist point of view. So from a Buddhist point of view, meaning from the point of view of um, the middle way view. So middle way meaning not going to the too extreme. What are the two extreme? The extreme, um, the downside extreme of nihilism, uh, and the upper side extremity of um, eternalism. So these two are the extremes to be avoided. And when we talk about the Buddhist way, the Buddhist perspective, we are talking about the Nagarjuna, the middle way, the middle way point of view. So from the middle way point of view, the adversaries' ideas are presented, and then they are challenged and they are attacked. And then after attacking the point of view from the other side, the adversary side, then you present your own idea, right? And your own idea is also open for challenges. It's not like because I said so, nobody can challenge that. No, Nagarjuna himself challenged, not necessarily like challenge, but like, I mean, he put all the Buddha's teaching and into scrutiny, to be analyzed, not to be taken as it is. Uh, Everything to be analyzed and then taken as per the conclusion of his analysis. So, because Nagarjuna himself challenged or scrutinized the Buddha's teaching, Nagarjuna's teaching can also be scrutinized, and all the teachings, all the Buddhist teaching can be thoroughly scrutinized. Uh, so the Buddhists, when we talk about the Buddhist idea, Buddhism way of thinking, we are talking about an idea that can be always, any time, any moment, any part of the teaching, at any moment can be scrutinized, can be analyzed. If you are not allowed to analyze and scrutinize, that means you are not, following the right path. Oh yeah. Yeah. So after presenting the views from the different um, thinkers, then Nagarjuna's, from his point of view, is that the five aggregates come from um, karma, ignorance. So karma is action. So action that is driven by ignorance. Action that is driven by ignorance brings the five aggregates, and because of that, because we have the five aggregates. The five aggregates is the one which sort of how to say make us suffer in samsara. So we are in samsara because we have the body to feel pain, and the feeling, the emotions to feel suffering, and then the thought process to be anxious about something that is coming in the future, uh, be worried about something that has happened in the past. That thought process makes us suffer. So the five aggregates, is the basis or the base upon which all the suffering, all form of suffering happens. Uh, right. So therefore, um, due to our negative karma, due to our karma, we get this five aggregates, and the karma, the action, comes from a thought process. Something there is a thought, something to drive the action, something to drive the physical action. What is that? It is none other than craving. Mm. Craving is also craving, meaning attachment. Craving is a form of attachment, but if you say craving is attachment it doesn't make much sense, right? So craving is to yearn or to be eager to do something, and a lot of time that eagerness, that excitement, always turns for the untrained. That eagerness always turns into attachment. You like to do something, and that uh, you want to do something. You have an excitement to do something, enthusiasm. Enthusiasm always turns into a form of mm, attachment. Enthusiasm for the untrained always turns into attachment through passion. Mm. So we use this term very lightly in everyday usage, like say, "Oh, to be passionate about something." Passion. Um, so when we, in order to be successful in something, in order to enjoy something, you need to be passionate. We say that all the time. Um, Passion by itself is nothing wrong, but passion always turns into craving, into attachment. That there's a very thin line between passion and attachment. Mm. And we usually don't see it, and we cross the boundary. So anyway, um, so ignorance, okay, out of ignorance, out of not knowing, okay, out of not knowing the proper process, proper causes, this and that, we engage in negative action, negative karma. Um, and that negative karma is fueled. The firewood for the fire, it's fueled by none other than our craving, which is a form of attachment. So, and then through that, we create the negative karma, and that negative karma brings forth um, the five aggregates. So the five aggregates and our pain, our suffering, goes hand in hand. The pain is what we receive. The pain is the let's for example, the pain is the water, and the five aggregates is the cup. So for the water to retain the water, you need a cup, to a container. The five aggregates are the container the which can hold, which holds the water. So the water is the pain, suffering, uh, and the five aggregates are the container. So so for ordinary beings like us, as long as we have the five aggregates, then those five aggregates, there's actually a term for that. We call this the tainted aggregates. So all the five aggregates the five aggregates that we ordinary people have are always tainted. So a tainted aggregate, five aggregate, uh, becomes the receiver for the suffering. Okay. So therefore, we usually say, okay, The five aggregates are not a problem. My body is not a problem. It's the suffering that's the problem. If I can get rid of the suffering, my body will be free from this and this and that. We usually say that, right? But your body, even for the suffering to inflict pain in you, there has to be a receiver, which is your body, which is the five aggregates. So if the five aggregates are not there, then the pain can be, even if there is a lot of pain in the samsara, you will not feel it. So the five aggregates are the receiver, and the pain, uh, the suffering in samsara is like the water. So it's like the water and the container to hold the water. Oh, let's. Okay. So now, hmm, the main point is that the five aggregates didn't come from no causes, didn't come from a creator God, didn't come from someone's just wishful thinking, etc. And it comes through actions. The five aggregates come from action, karma. Five aggregates come from karma, and that karma is driven by craving, and that craving is um, initiated by not knowing, or what we would normally call ignorance. So ignorance is an English word. I don't know in your local language what you call it, but the original language in Sanskrit is avidya. Vidya means wisdom, and a is negative. So avidya basically means non-wisdom or no wisdom. So wisdom is something that can see, right? But seeing is not that important. Even even with someone who is partially blind can see too, right? People who have clear eyes can see. People who don't have clear eyes, someone not totally blind but like partially blind, they can also see, but what they see is not very clear. So what people with partial blindness see is unwise. Mm. Because they are not seeing the full picture. So avidya, or ignorance, what we translate as ignorance in English. So the original language has a negative connotation. Avidya, vidya meaning wisdom, a meaning no, or negative. Negative wisdom or no wisdom. So not seeing. That is the meaning of the word ignorance. Even though we use the term ignorance very lightly, the original word in Sanskrit is avidya, the non-wisdom, the lack of wisdom. So, so lack of wisdom is the original, the, the, the meaning, the crucial meaning of the word ignorance um, is lack of wisdom. So through lack of wisdom, we get incensed by uh, craving, and through craving we make the wrong decision, take the wrong action, a negative action, right? And through negative action, the five aggregates come about. And through the because the five aggregates come from the negative action, the negative action comes in twofold. In the field meaning the suffering uh, that you go through, as well as the receiver, the receptor for the suffering, which is your body, which is your thought, which is your emotion. So like that. That's what. So that is the Nagarjuna's own point of view. Tsudim tushu chongzin ranglu Tibetan, right? Verse number 51. Tsudim tushu chongzin ranglu la chinji lobar tate, lobar tatang tezumde, kundu jorwa disum tarbayi chongkerang go gege, lagbar kembar gees. Uh, yeah, now English. Where's the English one? Okay. To feel that one is ethically superior, to view one's body wrongly, and to doubt. These three things. With these three fetters, you should understand the way through freedom's gates is blocked. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, so So we will go with the first line, which is mm, 가래도 주림 düshu 총지. Okay. Mm, mm. So the first line is to feel that one is ethically superior. Okay. So ethically superior. So it's a very simple translation, but it actually addresses one particular sort of um, there's something called the um, uh, five. mm, wow, five wrong views. Okay, there's something called five wrong views. Uh, um, one of the five wrong views is called uh, superior discipline. The wrong view of the superior discipline. Mm. Uh, superior ethics or superior discipline. Okay. Actually, the full name is the wrong view of the superior ethics and discipline. That is the full name of that particular wrong view. So what are the other four wrong views? We will talk about this later, okay? Sometime later, not today. But so this particular view, the wrong view, mm, the wrong view, the wrong view of superior ethics and discipline. Mm. The wrong view of superior ethics and discipline. So the first line, to feel that one is ethically superior, is actually addressing that particular wrong view. Oh yeah. So out of the five wrong views, one of them is the wrong view of the superior ethics and superior discipline, right? Tibetan 술팀당 뚫슈 정진기 따와. 술팀 can be understood. 술팀 can be um, um, translated as discipline. 술팀 can be discipline. And then 뚫슈 can be understood as ethics. And then 정진 means to view as superior. 수짐당 뚜슈 총진기 따와. That's the Tibetan. So what basically that means is that to put it in simple terms, this basically means my view and my practices are better than yours. Mm.
What are choosing mean rinpoche la?
Chok means supreme, zin means view. So to view that as the supreme. So basically, my practice, my discipline, and my uh, ethics are the
Yeah,
supreme ethic, supreme
yeah,
discipline. Yeah.
yeah,
Chongzun means to view as supreme,
yeah. Uh,
superior. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you remember, I don't know how many of you remember the Buddha's life story. If you have read Buddha's life story, you might have seen that after he left his hometown, he left his home, the palace, then he went out to search for many teachers, right? To seek the truth. Then he found so many teachers. So they're all engaged in extreme asceticism. So they teach him a lot of uh, what do you call the disciplines. They teach him a lot of philosophies, a lot of discipline, and many of those discipline involved uh, uh, extreme form of what's the word for that? Yeah, extreme form of asceticism. Uh, like that. And all these, so there is this before the Buddha came. Okay, let's put it this way. Okay, before the Shakyamuni Buddha came to this world, even before the Buddha came, there has been a very vibrant uh, uh, flow of wisdom, thought, thinkers, original thinkers, philosophers going on in India. So Buddha is not the first and original thinker. Even before Buddha, there are many thinkers, philosophers, great yogis. So the idea is that the more the harder you work, the more pain you inflict on this body, then the more harm you put yourself into, uh, the reward, mm, the reward is greater. The more harm you put yourself into, then the greater the reward is. For example, if you sit like cross-legged for 12 years, then you will become an enlightened, or you will achieve your this and that. Then so for example, one person says, okay, if you sit down for 12 years, you will achieve uh, enlightenment. Another one says, not sitting down is not enough. You have to sit cross-legged. And another person says, sitting cross-legged is not enough. You have to sit cross-legged and do not move even 1 inch. Then another person says, oh, not moving is not enough. You have to even like regulate your breathing to maybe, I don't know, 300 breathe or 400 something breathing in and out. The lesser you breathe, the better, the easier it is for you to achieve enlightenment, so on and so forth. And then there are many other form of extremities too, like sitting in the sun, scorching sun. If you sit in the scorching sun the whole day, and in the evening you don't wear any clothes, but go naked in the um, chilling night, then you will become enlightened very soon, etc., like that. So asceticism, extreme asceticism, both physically and mental pain and physical pain will bring you to liberation. That is the norm before the Buddha's coming. So the more pain you inflict on yourself, the more pain you inflict on yourself, the more disciplined you are. And the more disciplined you are, the closer your chance to become enlightened. Sorry, not enlightened. The greater your chance to be liberated. Yeah, yeah. So a lot of yogis, those times, of course, on top of their meditation and everything else, they put themselves into extreme sort of pain. So the idea is that because most of the Indian sort of philosophers accept the idea of life after death, like past life, future life, like that. So the idea is that in our the reason we are stuck in samsara is because mm, we have given into too much distraction, and too much pleasure, too much this and that. So therefore, in order to reverse our distraction, to reverse from all the things that we have, and all the negative actions that we have engaged, like giving into pleasure and this and that. So what is the opposite of pleasure, which is pain? So we must inflict more pain into ourselves uh, by inflicting pain upon ourselves. So because pain is the opposite um, of pleasure, so by inflicting more pain upon ourselves, we will be able to negate or cancel out the distraction, the too much pleasure that we have given to ourselves in the past life. And so by engaging in the pain, inflicting pain upon ourselves, then we'll be able to cancel out that, and then we'll be able to get to liberation sooner. That was the idea. So in India, you see, if you are like many like yogis of the past, right? S- Sitting cross-legged, or sometimes. So there are many yogis. If you read the history story of different yogis, some yogis choose to, in order to inflict pain upon yourself, in order to develop patience. Some yogis sit with the one hand raised up like this in the sky, like this, right? So like totally up like that. You may have seen the little Buddha, the baby Buddha, who is raising hands up like that. So similar. So they raise their hand up, and then they raise their hand up like this and sit like this for 5, 6, 7, whatever years, and then let all the blood sort of blood flow to stop going there, because if you don't move at all, then there's no blood flow. And by doing that, this hand, whatever, the left or right hand, whatever, whichever hand you are sacrificing, that hand, that sacrificial hand, totally dry, like kind of dies. It withers, becomes like a dry branch like that, and like that. And some yogis choose to, as I said before, sit in the sun. When the sun is like extremely hot, especially in India, then they sit outside on the ground, on the floor, on the ground, and then burn themselves to the heat of the sun, by inflicting pain of to them. And then you might have seen, when maybe when you were a kid, you might have seen some comic or movies where some of the Indian yogis, they would sit on the throne, right? Like nails, they would sit on the nail and do some meditation like that. So these are not just imagination; they actually really do, they all of them do that, and by inflicting pain upon themselves, uh, and their idea is that this will cancel out the pain, the pleasure that they have enjoyed too much in their past. Uh, and also, it also develops the patience, the endurance to to go through much more difficulty and pain. So that is the idea. Mm. So by inflicting pain, they are able to, through inflicting pain upon themselves, they try to minimize and reduce their um, craving, attachment, this and that, right? Or sometimes if you have anger, you do that, you do something to hold it down. Mostly they do it to lower down their attachment, craving. And it's not only like restricted to Indian sort of philosophy, even within Christianity, even within Islam, um, monks, Christian monks, also sort of inflicting pain upon themselves by like some type fledging, right? Like whipping themselves, hitting themselves, beating themselves when they have some attachment thought towards um, negative thoughts, right? Usually like attachment towards women and etc. And then in Islam, Muslim, they usually have, I don't remember the name of the festival. There's a festival when all the men, usually men, of course, they go out in the street with the long chain. The chain is has a lot of knife, like four, five, six, seven knives on the on those chain, and then they will whip themselves with the knife to inflict pain, and it's believed as a it's offered as a sacrifice to Allah, and also to by inflicting pain, by going through the pain, you are washing away your sins, etc. Anyway, so these are the superior ethics that we are talking about. Okay. This is more of a physical mortification, like going through physical pain. It's a discipline, okay? It's a form of discipline, going through physical sort of these, and then by doing so, you are, that like that. You get closer to liberation. Then there is also mental sort of mortification uh, through self. What is the word for that? Um, Anyway, I forgot the word. So the main point is that going through certain different things that will actually make you suffer mentally. So usually when the suffering comes to the when mental suffering comes uh, without preparation, right? That is very difficult for us. So these practitioners actually create a scenario where people will throw discrimination, this and that to you, and through that you are abused. Oh yeah, self-abuse. Yeah. So through self-abuse, you're abused. Make sure that people abuse you mentally, and then they try to hold onto their discipline so that the abuse that people throw at you is not harmful to you. I mean, you become immune to that. You build up sort of an immunity to mental abuse. for example, there are certain sort of very rare. Even today, there are some practitioner like that. Um, I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. They're living sort of. You can call them yogi. I don't know, but practitioners, followers, adherents. Who will uh, always lie on the dirtiest of the or they actually usually ask people to throw food on them. Okay, that's the point. So it's very funny because usually when people throw food on you, when a food is thrown on your clothes, if there's a spill, your clothes become dirty, right? And then you become so dirty, usually we change that shirt or whatever. So these kind of practitioner, they will ask people to throw food at them. So and then they never wash, okay? So they never wash their body, and then their hair, everything is filled with maggots, everything, all that. Okay, the most disgusting thing you can think of, it's filled with that. Then they ask people to throw food at them, like when you hate someone, you throw food at someone's face. So they so it's very funny, the scene, because it's their belief in the sort of in the Hindu system, right? So when they see these kind of yogis, usually they are ladies. When they see them, what they do first is they throw food at them, right? Which is very disrespectful in today's, like in normal, ordinary point of view. So they throw food at her and make her dirty, and then they also abuse her, right? You have to abuse her. Abusing her is a form of offering. So you offer her in the form of abuse. So you abuse her, tell her something like you are a prostitute or something bad, whatever. You tell her that. So after they finish their whatever they have to do, which is a form of practice, then they step back they take a few steps back and then bow down and pay their respect as well, like what we normally do, because this is how we have been built up, right? Whenever we see someone whom we respect, we have to bow down and do all of this. But they cannot do this before, because as part of their practice, you have to offer abuse to that lady. And so you have to offer abuse, you have to offer throw the food at them, throw like how do you call that, scold her, say all the bad thing about her, and then take a few steps back and say, you know, I pay homage to you, like that. So it's kind of ironical. Anyway, so there are practitioners who go through like extreme mental sort of abuse and physical abuse in order to develop themselves, in order to build themselves up, in order to get themselves closer to liberation. So from a Buddhist point of view, from the Buddha's point of view, all these are extremes, because Buddha's idea is middle way. So Buddha find out Buddha's discovery, right? Buddha is the awakened one. So what he awakened into, what he realized, awaken means realize. What he realized is that extreme sort of pain is not necessarily the answer. Mm. In today, we talk about walk smarter, not harder. So this is basically what the Buddha found out. Walk smart, not hard. The hard walk not always means uh, better result. Of course, you have to work hard in general, but it does not mean the harder you work, the better the result. Not necessarily so. If you are not skillful in working hard, then you will work hard your whole life without any result. Mm. And that's actually true, and not just in spiritual, in worldly manner, in a relationship, in a career, everything. If you just work your how to say, if you just keep working hard, doesn't keep working hard, harder and harder and harder. That does not necessarily mean you will be rewarded, you will be recognized, you will be acknowledged as as much as the input that you have made, right? Uh, so that's, I think a lot of you know, because you go to in your career, you work very hard in your company, in your organization, whatever. And does it really mean that the harder you work, the more reward you get? No, right? So this is what exactly Buddha found out. Like 2,600 years ago. Just because you work harder, just because you put into so much extreme pain into yourself, does not mean you will get a better result. Of course, you have to work hard, but the harder you work, the greater the result. Not necessarily so, unless you put wisdom into it. So therefore, always go in the middle way. That's what the Buddha taught. Even after Buddha teach that, during Buddha's time, or when the Buddha was during the Buddha's time, there was one person. I mean, there are few people who are very envious of the Buddha, jealous among his own sort of people, namely Devadatta, as you know. So Devadatta is always jealous of the Buddha. From he was jealous with Siddhartha when he was a kid. So the Prince Siddhartha, who later became Buddha, right? So later, when Siddhartha became Gautama, and Gautama became the Buddha, he became a teacher, and everybody follows him, and he became popular. Devadatta also joined the ranks of the Sangha. He became a monk because being a monk is popular, it's trending. So he became a monk. And as a monk, of course, Buddha is much popular than Devadatta. So he's super jealous of that. And then what he did was he tried to gossip with other monks, tried to create a rift, telling that Gautama's way of life is too relaxed. Mm. We're talking about middle way, so not doing the extremities that his predecessors do. Like Gautama, uh, I mean, he first did all the extreme ascetics like his teachers told him, but then he found out that's not necessarily the brings you the right result. Uh, Work harder does not always mean a better result. So he found out the skillful way to achieve his goal. So work smarter. So he makes everything more relaxed than his previous teachers. So Devadatta point that out to the followers of the Buddha, and when the Buddha was away out of town for one day, then he formed a faction. He formed a group within the group, a schism, right? A division within the Buddha's followers. So he gathered a lot of sanghas to follow him, and the reason and the way how he sort of um, uh, he brought them to his flock is by telling why the Buddha's way is too relaxed. We must become my tradition is better than the Buddha's tradition. And then Devadatta sort of started his own discipline, mm, which is usually known as the five disciplines of Devadatta. And these are going quite a bit extreme. Uh, Basically, so that he was saying my discipline is superior. Okay, so we are talking about superior discipline, superior ethics. So superior than the Buddha's um, discipline. So he added five more discipline to whatever 255 those vows of the monks. He added as a monk that followed Devadatta should have five more disciplines, and he added those five discipline to make himself uh, greater, better than the Buddha. So superior, that's what it means here. Like superior means better, right? Better than the rest. My tradition is better than yours. My idea is better than yours. My conduct, my behavior, my tradition is better than yours. Yeah. So Devadatta conspired with other monks by saying, you might have seen this yeah, anyway. So Devadatta conspired with other monks saying that Gautama has lost his way. He's not as, I mean, the Buddha. The Buddha has lost his way. He's not as good as you think he is. For example, uh, when the monks go for uh, the monks, the Shakyamuni's follower, the monks, right? The Sangha eat meat. Mm. Eating meat is harmful to the cow. Mm. So therefore, one should abstain from taking meat. One should stick to be extreme vegetarian. Secondly, monks should not drink milk because milk belongs to the calf, the baby cow. So when you drink milk, you are stealing the food of the baby calf. So therefore, monks should not drink milk. So these two are actually very logical, not harming the cow. So therefore, you should not drink the calf. So you should not drink milk and not eat meat. Because Buddha did not restrict monks from eating meat. There's no restriction on non-veg food. So drinking milk. So what we usually call veganism in today's time, right? Vegetarianism and veganism, vegan. So vegan has become very popular in the West in the modern time, and people think they created it. Actually, it was Devadatta. Devadatta is the original vegan trendsetter. So Devadatta set out this trend saying monks should not drink milk because milk belongs to the calf. Next, monks should not eat salt. If you eat salt, salt is what brings taste to the food. So if the food is tasty, you will eat more food. Then you will have health problem. You will not be able to have a bright sort of mind when you are meditating. You become a lazy, etc., etc. And most importantly, having a lot of food means you have a lot of energy. A lot of energy usually means you have the sexual drive. Then you want to engage in physical relationship with people, etc. So therefore, monks should not eat salt. Then number 4 is monks should not wear worn out clothes. Because the monks usually pick up clothes that thrown out by people those days. That is the tradition. So there's actually 4 sources for the monks' clothing, actually. So one of them is to get clothes that is thrown out by people. So Devadatta said monks wearing clothes thrown out by people. Some of them are widows, some of them are prostitutes, some of them are murderer. These people throw the cloth out there, and then the monks wash it and then dye them and then wear this. This is so disrespectful because monks are supposed to be the creme de la creme, the top in the social sort of social status, social strata. So therefore, if they wear the clothes belong to a deceased prostitute or a murderer, this and that, it's so disrespectful. So monks should always wear fresh, brand new clothing like that. And then the last one is monks staying in isolation in meditation. That's very stupid, he said. Monks should always go out in the um, sitting in isolation in meditation is very selfish. You must go out in the town, engage with people, help those people. So this and that. So actually, if you look at the five superior discipline of the 5 superior discipline of um, Devadatta, actually, they all make sense. Actually, none of them are diabolical. None of them are stupid. Anyway, but these are regarded as also regarded as the superior discipline, and these are to be shunned. Even during Buddha's time, these were challenged, and then, of course, when Buddha returned from into back to the town, then he abolished all of them, and then all the monks become one unit. So Devadatta was able to create a rift between the Sangha. So he was the original sort of what do you call that? The first Sangha member to create a division within the Sangha. But when the Buddha came back and then reasoned with the monks, then all the monks come together. Yeah. Okay, we go to the second verse now. Okay, it's to view one's body wrongly. Okay, that's half of the second verse. So to view one's body wrongly means so body. So the Tibetan word used for body is pungpo, pungpo, which is hips. heap, one heap, right? One heap full. It can mean the body as in your physical body, and Pumbo is also a reference to aggregates. It means both of them, the five aggregates, the body, including the five aggregates, because five aggregates are there are five things, so it's a body of five different things. So like that. So the body. Um, and body in particular, this body, this physical body we have, right? The human body that we have, or whatever body we have. To view the body wrongly, that means to understand what that means, you have to understand some concept called, in Tibetan we call it Da Zangxing, Pungpo Mi Zangwa. Okay, Da means self, Zangwa means clean. Da Zangwa means the self is clean. Pungpo Mi Zangwa, the body is unclean. Basically, the self is clean, the soul is clean, and the physical attribute the which houses the soul is unclean. Okay, what you do with something unclean, the waste, right? When you go to the toilet, you go throw the waste, then you flush it. The unclean is something to be ditched, something to be dumped. The clean is something to keep. So the idea is that the soul, the self, is clean, meaning it's to be kept. The body is unclean, meaning it has to be abandoned. So this concept of body unclean, self clean. So this is a direct attack to that particular ideology. Viewing the body wrongly means attacking this particular concept of the self and the body. So the idea, okay. Self-clean, body unclean is just a term, right? So basically, it means the self has been there for eternity. Mm. The self, the idea that the self is independent, the self is eternal, the self is singular. When you talk about the body, the form, there are so many uh, different forms, right? Different parts of the body, everything, it's not singular, it's multiple. But when you talk about uh, the soul is one, singular. It's independent. It's by itself. It controls the body. It controls the thought. It controls the emotion, everything. And then it is eternal, meaning even if you die in your next life, the soul is still there. The body changes. The body is cremated. So that is the idea, right? The idea of a self. In Buddhism, there is no self, anatma. Atma means self, a means negative, so anatma. So this particular viewing the body wrongly basically is an attack to the idea of atma, or the self. So viewing the body wrongly means viewing the body is unclean. So it does not mean unclean as in, oh, there's a dirt on my body, or there's some, I have to wash my body. It doesn't mean that way. Unclean means something to be ditched. Clean means something to keep. So viewing the body wrongly means is looking at the body as something to be dumped, and the self to something to be kept. So basically, the idea is that the person who holds that view is someone who has the idea of um, how to say that, the self, the self. So therefore, it's an attack to that one. There is no independent self. There is no. So we will talk about this later, some other time. The idea of a self. So anyway, the viewing body wrongly means it's this particular line is an attack to the um, philosophies which propagate the idea of a atma, or the self, which is almost 99% of all the non-Buddhists of that time. Yeah. Then the last one is having a doubt. So doubt here refers to doubt in uh, nirvana, liberation. Okay. So for example, if you say, okay, practicing bodhicitta, can I by practicing bodhicitta is the way to liberation, is learning about shunyata, the emptiness, is a way to liberation. That is not a doubt. That is not the doubt we are talking about here. That is okay. So you find out, oh, okay, learning about Sunishunyata helps to achieve nirvana. Learning about this. So that is that is not a doubt we are talking about. That is a reasonable doubt. So doubt here means doubting the liberation here means doubt here refers to doubting the liberation. And doubting the liberation basically means doubting the existence of a liberation. Is there really something called nirvana? Is something as nirvana really achievable by, you know, if you look at all the person, I mean, there are 7 billion human beings in the world. None of them looks like they have achieved nirvana. So, is it possible? I mean, we read about nirvana all the time in the book, but then those people who achieve nirvana I don't see them with my own eyes. So maybe nirvana is not real, you know. So that is the doubt. This is the doubt that it's referring to. So having such a doubt is these are the blockages or the fetters. So viewing the body wrongly, having the view of the extreme, the superior discipline and ethics, and then doubting the existence of nirvana, these three will lead you away from liberation, from the gates of liberation. So it will take you to a wrong turn. It will not take you directly to the liberation. It will take you away from the gates of liberation. Yeah. Okay. So this concludes today's class, and so there's one. I think it's a comment, not a question. I think so, which has just taught that is 13 ascetic practices. I see some of the ascetics picking up the clothes outside and sleeping in graveyard, and the ascetics do not take bath. Yes. So the 13 it's not really a question. So anyway, so the 13 ascetic practices or the Dhutanga practices in the Mahayana, we usually talk about the 12 practices. In the Theravada system, they talk about the 13 practices. So one extra is to walk all the time, to keep walking. Anyway, so these ascetic practices are not extreme practices. So it's not the superior practice. Okay, here you have to understand. Just don't read the surface. Just don't read the line itself. Even though it says superior in the book, superior does not mean good here. Superior basically means superior than the Buddha's own teaching here. So therefore, here the superior means wrong view, is an extreme. So the 13 ascetic practices or the 12 ascetic practices, whatever you may call them, is not an extreme practice. It's actually a cherished practice by the Sheravakas during Buddha's time. And even today, there's a lot of people who practice this, especially in Thailand. You have thousands of monks, what we refer to as the forest monk. So you don't see them they don't go out in the into the street to the people's home and this and that. They usually stay in the forest, and then they stay by the 13 Dhutanga rules. And these are not extreme views. And this is one of the targets that Devadatta was attacking, because one of the practice of the 13 Dhutanga is to pick up clothes that were thrown by other people. And so Devadatta is saying this is so disrespectful. As a monk, you should not wear such clothes, etc., like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So therefore, the 13 Dhutanga practices cannot be termed as superior practices. This is a cherished practice coming from all the way from the Buddha's time. And if we can follow all of them, 3 of them, 2 of them, either of them, any of them we can, it's good if we can follow. Yeah. I think that's all for today, and let's conclude. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rinpoche.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's do the dedication now. Ngewa diye nyordo da lama sangye drubyoro nendro wa chekya malu keye sala ke bara sho chanju semjo rembo che magye banama ge gyoro keba nyambara meba yang kone kondo pe bara sho me enze Vedere cene cene se te me kembe One boy jambe yang De boy ma le jomo ze sang wen da Kan jen kembe zo ken zon kan ba Lord Zion tribe shall lie so one day. Lord Zion tribe shall lie so one day. Dembe ningbo zimbe benga shin namando. Queen la changju be lobsan chuye jamzu chogun. Jenge joden dambara so one day.
Thank you Rinpoche La. Cảm
Thank
ơn
you.
Very much, Rinpoche La.
Thank you, Brother
ơn
Huang.
cả anh chị.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.